You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
And today on this Training Thursday edition, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually kind of flow through this entire week how I've been using my philosophy of mindset, my philosophy of wellness, my philosophy of nutrition and weight loss yesterday, and now my overall philosophy of actual exercise. Now, today's important because I'm going to use this one exercise as an example of how I look at overall exercise in general and training programs. So I get asked all the time is like, what's the best exercise you can do for fat loss? What's the best exercise you can do for strengthening? So I want to answer that today, but also from the standpoint of this, that you don't have to overcomplicate exercise, and you also don't have to go over the deep end, which is what I see it lately with all these hardcore boot camps and workouts that, I'll tell you, they're doing more harm than good. They're more detrimental to your body than they are actually helpful. You should never be draining your body of energy and completely wearing it down and crushing it or killing it, as a lot of people say. And the reason is that's fine for one workout. But what happens is over a period of weeks and months, your body becomes literally worn out. Unless you're getting lots of sleep, unless you're getting the perfect nutrition, you're getting plenty of rest, what happens is we pull more from our body than we do put it back in. I mean, you're constantly pulling more energy out than you're putting back in through good nutrition, sleep, rest, all of those things. What you're going to do is at the end of the day, you're going to find your body worn out, you're going to find yourself getting more sick, and you're going to eventually find yourself injured and putting on more weight. So we don't want those things. So what I want to do today is talk about this, that you want to focus your efforts on full body metabolic exercises. It doesn't matter if you want to put on muscle, if you want to burn body fat, or you just want to stay in great shape and keep your bones strong. So here's the thing. One exercise is going to sum that up more than any other, and that's something called the squat press. So what is a squat press? Well, I've gone over this over and over. I'm going to try to find a video that I've done before, just kind of either called like the world's best exercise or something like that. I shot it many, many years ago. And what it is you're literally holding weights on top of your shoulders. Now, keep in mind, you can hold a medicine ball if you're a beginner. You can hold dumbbells on your shoulders, kettlebells by your sides, a sandbag on one shoulder, a barbell. So a band, this exercise is universal. I give it to every single person pretty much that I'm working with unless someone has shoulder-based issues, meaning like they have a torn rotator cuff. But most people can do this because, again, you can use it with a medicine ball. And most people are doing this in everyday life, so we have to strengthen this movement in general. But what I have them do if they're just beginners, I have them hold a medicine ball. They sit down onto a bench or onto a chair, and they keep the medicine ball towards their chest or on their chest, and they stand up, and as they're standing up, they press that medicine ball overhead, and then what they do is they sit back down, they bring the medicine ball back down. Now, if you're a little bit more advanced, you're going to use dumbbells, and then you can use kettlebells, and then a sandbag, or keep going from there. So this is an excellent exercise. Why? Because it works every muscle in your legs and it works every muscle in your upper body. So what am I doing right now? Well, I'm doing an exercise called the squat press, but why? So that's the whole philosophy is start to think about why you're doing things. Start to think about why you're having certain thoughts. Start to think about why you're eating certain foods, why you're doing a certain type of wellness program, and, of course, why you picked this particular exercise for you to do. Was it just random? Did you see someone else doing it? Or is it what's best for your body? And this exercise called the squat press is pretty much best for everyone's body. Now you might say, well, I can't squat because it hurts my knees. I disagree with that. You're most likely doing the exercise incorrectly, or your body's just not in biomechanical alignment, which means that you'll have to turn your feet out a little bit to start until you foam roll your IT band, so you foam roll your hips. But we sit down every day. You sit down in a chair, you sit down onto your bed, you sit down onto the toilet. So I know everyone sits down and stands back up. And I know that everyone has to do this in daily life to stay strong, to stay literally out of a wheelchair and to stay stay out of a nursing home because I work with clients that are having to go through rehab or prehab because they're about to have surgery on their knees. This is a very important exercise, and it's very important for someone to do. Now, it doesn't mean you'll be doing it 15 times. Maybe you're only doing it 5 times, but you have to start somewhere. So keep in mind that when we're choosing exercises, we need to choose full body exercises. Now, if you heard my training Thursday last week, please, if you haven't, please do tune into that, because I described all the exercises you shouldn't be doing, and they're all pretty much machine-based. That you're sitting down, that you're doing open chain exercises that are not great for your spine, that they're not great for your lower back, they're not great for your metabolism, because when you stand, you're using on average about 30% more muscle, which means you're using about 30% more of a metabolic boost, because our muscles are what's going to keep that metabolic fire, that metabolism going, because you have to use those muscles to literally burn them up, to use that engine inside those mitochondria, to have to require them to not only ask for more fuel to burn more calories, but also to create that thermogenic effect as well in your body. So really, really important that when I talk about an exercise like a squat press, it's just one exercise. Now, of course, you're not going to do this one every single day of the week, that you're not going to do it for your entire workout, but it's part of the overall philosophy. When you choose an exercise that works both your legs and upper body, what you're doing is you're saying, I'm going to work the greatest amount of muscle tissue possible. And that's going to boost my metabolism. It's going to strengthen my bones because I'm standing on both feet. And it's a very functional exercise. Basically, I'm sitting down, I'm picking something up, and I'm standing up tall, and I'm putting it up on a shelf. That's essentially a squat press, right? And so when you think about it, that's an everyday life exercise that whether you're 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, or 100 years old, you need to be doing that. And we have 101-year-old in our practice. So, we literally train every age group possible. And it's amazing because we can see how these exercises keep people strong, or if they don't do them, how their bodies become weak and they become essentially flabby. Because what is flab? Flab is weak muscles. It's your body loses that muscle tone. It becomes flaccid, and you start to put on body fat instead. So you have these weak muscles, subcutaneous muscle as well as visceral body fat starts to grow, which is just the subcutaneous is the kind of like the soft fat you see, and the visceral fat is kind of what creates that pot belly that you see around the organs as well as intertwined with muscle tissue. So I'm not going to make this a long episode today because I've gotten my point hopefully across, that what you want to do is you want to look at working both your legs and upper body in each exercise, and you don't want to sit down on machines. Very, very rarely, if ever, should you be doing that. So lying down would be okay for a core-based exercise, but the rest of the time you should be standing up doing a chest press, or you could be in a ball because that's still working your glutes and lower back and all of that as you're doing a chest press in a ball. But think of it this way. You need to be working your legs with every workout, and you need to be working with your upper body with every workout. And your legs cannot be worked as just running or just biking, because running or biking is really a cardiovascular based exercise, which means this, that you're working your heart and lungs when you're doing your bike or you're doing your legs. Yes, you are pumping your legs, there's no doubt about it, but after the first 4 or 6 weeks of really running or biking, your legs have become adapted to that type of exercise. So unless you're going to run longer or you're going to run at a faster speed, really those legs have gotten what they're going to get out of it. The rest of the time is the heart and lungs, and we know that because that's the limiting factor, meaning like your legs in a squat, they get pretty much worked within 10 to 20 repetitions and you're done, you're fatigued. But when you're working your heart and lungs in a cardiovascular, you could go for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, or a half hour or an hour, right? So, that's the bottom line, is that we know that we're not really working our muscle tissue as much because that's not the limiting factor, because you can keep going for so long. But 10, 20 repetitions only takes you 30 seconds or maybe 60 seconds at the most. And those muscle tissues are they're spent. There's a lot of burning in them, and that shows that lactic acid, that shows that muscle tissue working hard. So that's what I want you to strive for. Keep your cardio workouts separate from your resistance-based workouts. And when we're talking about a weight workout or a resistance workout, I want you to use both upper and lower body muscles and exercises. I want you to use them using free weights or your own body weight or bands. And I want you to try to combine as many exercises as possible, like a squat press. It's a great, great exercise that you're going to burn a lot of calories, yes, but really more from a metabolic response. That means it's going to rev up your metabolism even when you're done with your workout. So again, hopefully you're starting to get a little bit more of my philosophy as well. So when you look at my workouts, when you look at my programs, you can see that there's always a reason why I chose a particular exercise. And also, this is how we stay healthy and strong for life, which is really the theme of this week's episodes. So once again, thank you for tuning in to another Cabral Concept.
Before you go, I wanted to share a personal story with you.
The real reason I began to get well finally is because I figured out what was wrong with me. And that might seem pretty obvious, but I went from doctor to doctor for over 2 years before discovering at-home functional medicine lab testing. These are the labs that enabled me to finally figure out what was wrong with my hormones, blood sugar, electrolytes, and gut health. And once I knew what was wrong, I could then follow a proven plan in order to rebalance my body from the inside out. This is why I believe so strongly in functional medicine lab testing and why I've made it my mission to share these labs with the world. Now at equa.life, you can order an at-home lab test or lab bundle for you and your family and be able to complete it within the week. Plus, the EquaLife difference is that you're not left to try to read and figure out these labs on your own. We explain what your lab numbers mean, what they mean in the much bigger picture, and then how to go about rebalancing your body in order to heal. To see our full selection of lab tests, or to set up a free lab selection call to find out what labs may be best for you, simply head on over to equa.life/labs. And do remember, we ship these all over the world. To find out more and to set up your free lab selection call, simply head on over to equa.life/labs. That's EQUI.LIFE/labs.